Music festivals are nothing new. They've been around for decades. They are a place to just be yourself, forget about reality for a weekend, and just surround yourself with a little love and positivity, eh?
Plur.
These festivals attract tens of thousands of people every year. Many think there is safety in these large numbers. What could possibly go wrong with so many people around? So many witnesses. The truth is, it's much easier to go missing in a large crowd without anyone noticing, and it happens way more than you think. Welcome back to Justice 4. We're your hosts. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sam.
So, I actually stumbled upon today's case while looking into attending the festival that it happened at.
Oh. Like at the same time or like later?
Later, because this happened back in 2018, but we want to
Oh.
go in like a year or two. And once I started looking into it, I knew that we had to do an episode on Kevin. And we say it all the time on here. People don't just vanish into thin air. So how did Kevin vanish surrounded by thousands of people without a trace?
Beats me, man.
I know, that's what we're going to try to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, we don't.
You bitch.
Kevin Gary Graves was born and raised in Michigan. Kevin was very close with his family growing up. Being the youngest of all of his siblings, they were all really fond of him. His dad had been married before, so he had two older siblings from another marriage, and then his dad and mom had him and his older sister, Kelly.
Youngest children.
Yes, but she was like 6 years older than him still, so he was like the baby.
Yeah, the youngest child.
Yes. They all attended Lutheran schools growing up, so needless to say, Kevin grew up in a very religious family. So it was definitely a shock that Kevin was an atheist, but that didn't really matter to his family. They accepted him just the same. And Kevin's dad said he was a great kid. He was well liked by everyone in the family. He said he wasn't perfect, got into his fair share of trouble as a teenager, but his dad was always there to bail him out and help him out. Kevin enjoyed very much working with his hands. He was just a hands-on learner. If you taught him something one time, he would always remember how to do that. And Kevin's dad loved fixing things. Kevin would say that there isn't anything his dad couldn't fix. Mm-hmm. He would take things from people who would be like, this is broken. He's all, no, it's not. I got you. And every time, Gary came through, fixed it.
Hey, Gary, I have some stuff I think is broken that I'm just too lazy to try to fix. If you want to help me, thank you.
And Gary was a mechanic, so it was no surprise that Kevin also became a mechanic, and he worked with his dad after high school for a little while. He also dabbled in carpentry, he worked in construction, so, I mean, he could put in a floor, frame your house for you, put some windows in, do some plumbing. He was kind of like a jack of all trades.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like he just seems like a jack of all trades. Good for him. There's not many people who can do that.
Yeah, and he went on to even work at Roush Racing with his older brother Tim at one point. And in Kevin's 20s, he kind of started to get into the EDM scene. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's electronic dance music. So think DJs, and a lot of you will know it from like the 90s warehouse raves type thing. But it has kind of really grown from that little small underground type glow sticks twirling around in a dark room to these massive large-scale festivals that are 3 days over the weekend. Some of them are 2 weekends because they just can't put it all into 1 week.
Yep. I haven't been to a rave in so long. I don't even know what it would be like anymore. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I go all the time.
She does.
I just went to one. So obviously there's a large stigma around raves and the EDM festivals that it's just a bunch of people on drugs and that's all they're there for. And while yes, there is recreational drug use going on at these festivals, such as ecstasy and LSD, marijuana, but that's not what these people who go there go to do. Yes, there's always going to be that small group of people that this is their thing, and this is what they're there for, but we don't really like those ones.
Period.
So these festivals, why do they make them so much more? They have performers. They have large, like, interactive art installations. There's multiple stages, usually 2 to 3 main stages and about, like, 5 smaller stages.
Yep.
Some of them even have, like, small stages that, like, travel around the festival. They have carnival rides, Ferris wheels. I mean, I'm talking large productions. And
Honestly, some of the art that's at some of these too
is
is
crazy.
awesome. Super awesome.
And yes, that is what we all pay to come and see, and that is what we're doing. But there's the other part of it, and it's the interactions and talking with people.
Yeah.
I actually just attended Electric Daisy Carnival, or EDC as it's more widely known, and it is one of the largest EDM festivals in the US. And I've been to 2 of them. And I just want to say, my favorite part of going to festivals is talking to people. We spent an hour in the Ferris wheel line, and it was our best time of the whole weekend. We met so many different people. We got to trade candy, as they call it, with a K. They're bracelets. And
If you're a Swiftie, it's like your friendship bracelets.
but it originated out of
different.
us. I'm also a Swiftie. But you also get little sprouts, which are little, like, flowers and clips and little duckies, and people just walk up to you and hand you random things. It's
Yeah.
amazing and fun.
I'm still friends with many people that I've met at raves, like to this day.
Oh yeah, we met a couple, and we are actually planning on going to a festival with them next year.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's just
You and
it's a
I
great
met
time.
during our raving phases as well.
We did.
We did. We did. It was such a good time. I don't think we ever went to one together though.
We did not, but we shall someday. I'll drag you along.
All right.
Okay.
I mean,
You
I'm
know,
not
we
opposed,
do live in the
but
bass
I'm
capital.
old.
You know what Denver's referred to as the bass capital in the EDM scene? Like, literally,
What?
so many times at EDC, people were like, "You're from Denver? Or from Colorado? Denver's the bass capital. Like, you guys are so lucky." Yeah, we are literally known as the bass capital.
What?
Because we have Red Rocks and Decadence and all of
I
that.
mean, that's fair. Then why did they get rid of EDC here? I went to the very last one that was here.
Because we don't have large enough space for it, and it was danger.
Anymore?
Since Kevin lived in Michigan, it's no surprise that the Electric Forest Festival that takes place at the Double JJ Ranch in Rothbury, Michigan every summer caught his eye. For those of you not familiar with Electric Forest, it is an EDM festival that takes place over 2 weekends at the end of June, running into the beginning of July. Electric Forest first started back in 2008 and has grown into the massive 2,000-acre camping festival that it is today. Roughly 50,000 people attend each year. And just to give you a little rundown, there's multiple stages and multiple camping areas. You can go from your camping area to the stages whenever you want. Anytime you leave the festival grounds in your car and come back, it is subject to a full search in order to keep the festival safe. The campgrounds open on Wednesday before the first weekend, and usually with some pre-festival things planned that day, and Thursday for the campers at the campground. So they have DJs, massage tents, like hair stations,
Oh my.
candy making stations, yeah, a bunch of just different things. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the main event. That's when all of the concerts take place. And then Monday it's all over, you pack up and you go home.
I feel like I've seen videos of this, and it's literally in the woods. Like, you're just surrounded by trees.
I have a video that'll be right here. So, since Electric Forest only takes place 3.5 hour drive from where Kevin lived with his girlfriend Kayla and her 2 daughters, they've been together for about 3 years.
Okay.
And they lived in Highland Township.
The kids are not his.
No, the kids are not his. They're hers. That's on the east side of Michigan. Okay. This festival's on the west side of Michigan.
Okay. Why did I not know that this took place in Michigan?
Yeah, when I looked it up, I was like, Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think of like
Lost Lands is in Ohio. So
okay, there's literally nothing else to do in Ohio.
But the random places that these things are at.
I don't know. I just don't think of like lush forest like that when I think of Michigan. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, Michigan has a lot of forest.
All right.
I have family in Michigan. I went there a lot in the summer.
I'm sorry. I always think of 8 Mile.
Oh God, yeah, that's Detroit. Michigan. So yeah, that's
so
okay. Sorry. Yeah, so we're like out by the we're not in Detroit.
Got it.
So they lived in Highland Township, which is in Oakland County, Michigan. Okay. And Kevin, his girlfriend Kayla, and their 2 friends James and Angel decided to go to the second weekend of Electric Forest in June of 2018. Okay. The day before Kevin left for Electric Forest, he called his dad and made plans with him to go to the family cabin when he came back. Just the 2 of them to do some work on the cabin and spend some time together. His sister Kelly had sent him a video about explaining God to an atheist. And she didn't expect Kevin to even open it or respond to her about it. So she was pretty shocked when he called her and said he watched the video and wanted to talk to her about it when he got back. On Wednesday, June 27th, Kevin, Kayla, James, and Angel all arrived at the campgrounds to set up and started enjoying the festivities. Even though the main shows didn't start until Friday, they had a lot of other stuff to do. Kevin stayed in contact with his family all weekend, texting with them about the festival, how it was going. But on Sunday, Kevin began sending some weird texts to his family, and it started with texting his dad at 7:55 a.m. He thanked him for his service and said that he would repay him for it someday. His dad was in the Marines, and everyone thought this was kind of a weird text message, but they didn't think much of it. They were like, okay, that's weird, but he's coming home tomorrow. But then around noon, his mom texted him and said, hey, how are you guys doing? And Kevin replied the word, nothing. She replied, is everything okay? And once again, Kevin just replies the word, nothing. So sometime between that conversation with his mom and 2 p.m., Kevin withdrew $200 from his bank account. So there's ATMs at these festivals. This is back in 2018, so I don't think we're cashless yet. Nowadays, the festivals are cashless. So
I feel like all that started because of COVID.
Yes. So, and then he texted his sister Kelly, everything's good. I love you the most. And this is Kevin's last phone communications with anyone. And so Kevin's family is super confused, but he's at the festival, so they just don't really think much of all of this. They're going to talk to him the next day. He's literally coming home in less than 24 hours.
I'm super confused.
That's fine.
Is it?
It is okay for right now. But the next day, instead of getting a call from Kevin saying, I'm on my way home, they get a call from Kayla telling them she can't find him. And Kayla told Kevin's parents that she and Kevin got into an argument, and Kevin decided to head back to the tent, cool off, and chill out. Kayla stayed with James and Angel at the festival area for a while before eventually heading back to the campsite. Kevin wasn't there when she got back there, but she wasn't worried. He's 28, and he could have just gone back to the festival, gone to another stage, just gone off to do whatever and chill. But after a few hours, Angel and James came back to the campsite, and they hadn't seen or heard from Kevin either. And then they got a little worried because Kevin's phone and wallet was also at the campsite. So they went out to look for him, which wasn't going to be easy at a festival this size with this many people and just looking for somebody that you know. Like, you guys can be walking past each other 20 feet apart and not know it. So they looked everywhere, but they never found him that night. So they went back to the campsite hoping that he would turn up or at least be there in the morning when everybody woke up. But when they woke up, he wasn't there. They searched around for him some more, and Kayla told Kevin's parents that she looked as long as she could, but she had to go home because she had 2 kids. And Kevin's family totally understood this. The initial thought was Kevin's going to show up soon, which is a totally valid thought because every year after these festivals, there is always 1 or 2 people's pictures who get posted in these Facebook groups that everyone joins leading up to the festival to connect and share outfits and everything. And there's always somebody missing. For example, at the festival I just attended, this lady, she couldn't find her husband for like 2 days. He popped back up. He was good. There was 1 other person someone didn't find for like a day. They popped back up the next day. So it is common that people get separated from groups. They don't have their phone dies. I have no idea where that dude was for 2 days, but so it happens. So everybody was just expecting him to show back up.
That shouldn't be like a normal thing.
So, okay, like, listen, we had this one buddy, the first EDC we went with, and he would just like go off on like little adventures on his own, and he always showed back up and found us again. And he would do this at Red Rocks to us too all the time. He always came back. That. One time he got jumped while he was not with us, but he still kept doing it.
I mean, okay, you know me. I'm just like a stop fucking leaving your friends person. Like, I understand if I've been drinking a little bit, I can be a runner, I can be a track star, but
But sometimes you
I
can't
don't,
stop them from going off on their side quests, and you just tell them to come back and find
yeah,
you.
I don't leave the area. I just
Yeah,
ping around
I'm
in
not
the
one of
same
those ravers
spot.
either, but there is always one in every group.
Oh my God, I hate it. I hate it.
So, when Kevin didn't show back up or contact anyone in his family, they started posting him in those Facebook groups,
Mm-hmm.
and they headed back out to the Double JJ Ranch, where the festival was to look for him. And they had been talking with Kayla and had planned to go back out there together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when his family gotten up there, they hadn't really been able to. There's some sort of miscommunication going on. But when they
Okay.
get up there, they find out that Kayla and her dad are already there searching. And Kevin's family was like, hey, wait, like I thought that we were going to do this together.
Yeah.
But he's like, but they're so in the rush of everything. This is 4th of July weekend. It's right after everything happened. And there's like, it's fine. We're all here together. We can just do this now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they printed out flyers. They started walking around, talking to all the businesses around, trying to just get his name out
Mm-hmm.
there, talking to the people. But this isn't really an easy feat because this festival is taking place in Michigan and people travel from all over the country to get here. So it's not like all these people are still just hanging around.
Yeah.
And this is a large campground that's not just used for Electric Forest. There is actually, within a few weeks, there's a huge biker run rally that's coming through to camp. So, and this is also where I'm going to add. Kayla did not report Kevin missing in Oceana County, which is where the festival takes place in Rothbury. She reported him missing in Oakland County, where they live, 3.5 hours away.
Why would she do that?
I don't know. I've never gotten an answer. I'm going to assume it's she reported him missing because that's where they lived and that's where he's from. I don't know why she wouldn't report him missing there, where he went missing. Like, I don't
Are
know
we
why
sure?
I don't know why she didn't drive off that campground to the police station, report him missing, and then go home.
Yeah.
So I am not entirely sure on that. And
Or
I will get more into why we don't have more solidness on
yeah.
this.
I wonder if maybe she called and like told the police everything, but they're like, well, it's this county, so this is what we're just gonna put it here. What?
No, she looked for him,
Yeah.
drove home,
Yeah.
and then reported him missing in Oakland
Yeah. Yeah.
County.
I'm
She
saying
did not call police in
no,
Rothbury.
no, no. I know what
Yeah.
you're saying. I'm saying maybe the police
Oh,
are the
yeah.
ones
They
because
called
she
down there.
probably yeah.
Yeah. But he is missing, and the county that has his case is Oakland County, not Oceana County, where he went missing. So his case in the police department dealing with it
Mm-hmm.
is 3.5 hours away from where he went missing.
Why wouldn't they just transfer it then? So that would be more on the cops than it would be on her.
Oh, let's keep going to find those answers.
Okay.
So, like I said, we will get back to that in a moment, though.
Mm.
Kevin's family put up a $10,000 reward pretty quickly, and a massive search effort for Kevin began, including Michigan State Police, Shiawassee Search and Rescue, and along with a private search and rescue team. The entire 2,000-acre property was walked and searched along with the use of planes, drones, water searches were done, and I have heard news reports and families say that there was dogs used.
Okay.
But I've also seen in the Facebook group where dogs were not used because it once they were thought of, it was too long past it and there's too many different people and all the different sense. So I've seen both sides. I've seen it been reported that they did use dogs in the search originally. I've seen it in the Facebook page where they're like they never used them. So
I mean, maybe they were planning on it and they put that out beforehand.
yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I'm not entirely sure there, but I did want to put it there. And
Also, there's scents everywhere, like multiple, lots of scents everywhere. If you give the dog one scent,
yeah.
if it's a good, like a well trained dog.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
I know.
I
That's why I just
digress.
wanted to put it in
Moving
there
on.
and then just
Moving
be
on.
like,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen both.
Mm-hmm.
So, and nothing was found. There was no sign of Kevin or his phone or his wallet. And this is surprising and not surprising because these festivals are massive camping things. The cleanup on this is insane. So, literally, every single foot of this campground is walked by these people to clean everything up because people left Those like pop-up canopy things,
Mm-hmm.
if they broke or whatever. People left boxes
I
behind.
was
There's
gonna say,
trash
why would
everywhere.
people leave those
But like if
behind?
it
Because those
broke
are
or bent,
expensive.
yeah. So there's just so much that they have to go through and clean and get rid of. And I hated the negative. Like they tried to make that the negative connotation of all this. Like there's so much trash. These people just leave so much behind. It's no wonder that. But no, it's surprising and not surprising because everything's just getting collected and thrown away. No
Yeah.
one's really paying attention and being like, oh, this could be important. This could be important because we're dealing with cleanup crews and searches.
Yeah.
So
Also, stop trashing our forest. I don't care if you're at a festival. Rude.
yeah.
Thank you.
So it is possible this phone or wallet could have been thrown away in all of this without anyone knowing. But after basically combing through all of this area and the ponds, the things next to it, and no sign of him coming up and nothing happening, the Michigan State Police basically say that they are going to stop the large active searches for him and bow out because he's 28, an adult, and he can just walk away if he wants.
Ew. Also, I thought you said his phone and wallet were left at the
At
camp.
the
So what did
campsite.
they have it?
Yes. Listen. I'm not sure if Kayla knew she had his phone and if like this is where it gets weird. So, in Kayla's initial story, his phone and wallet was at the campsite. When his family's talking about it, they don't know where the phone or wallet is. When we talk about searching everything, they say they never find his phone or wallet when they're searching for things. I'm not entirely sure because we have more phone things to talk about later that
Okay.
make me like the phone and wallet. I honestly sat there because I had this written and then I read something where it was like his phone and wallet were never found. And then I was like, but I've read 8 things where it said his phone and wallet were at the campsite.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm probably on the wrong path here, but in my mind, Kayla's a little sus.
Let's keep going.
Oh,
So,
am I like a genius?
no.
Um,
So, with the Michigan State Police basically bowing out, we are left with the Shiawassee and the private search and rescue team.
say it again.
Shiawassee. But this wasn't enough for Kelly and Kayla. They were calling hospitals in the area every day. They were going door to door asking people if they had seen him. They had already been handing out flyers. They were starting to join more electric forest groups on Facebook, asking people if they saw Kevin or remembered seeing him, asking people to check their pictures for him in the background. And one of those posts is how I stumbled across this. Is it was a post asking everyone to check their pictures from 2018 for him in the background.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't there, but there's so many people in the comments going, I've just heard about this. I was there that year. So a lot of people know him and know about this years later, but there are still some people who are just learning. That's why we do this.
Me.
So because you've asked so many Kayla questions, I want to go back
I've only asked like 3.
to what she told investigators and what happened in the weeks following Kevin's disappearance.
Oh
Because
no.
this is going to answer a lot of questions.
Okay.
Initially, Kayla told police pretty much the same story she told Kevin's family, except she expanded a bit more on Kevin's behavior that weekend. She said that he had been acting really erratic and paranoid all weekend. She went on to say that Kevin accused her of ratting him out to the FBI. She had no idea what about, and he accused her of cheating on him with James. You know, the other guy who went with him to this festival. And this is
Wait,
what the
is Angel a woman or man?
Angel's a woman, but they're not. James and Angel aren't together. It's just a friend group. So, this is what the big fight was that made Kevin go back to the tent.
Uh-huh.
Kayla was beside herself after Kevin went missing. She was a part of all the searches and was in constant communication with the family. She paid all of his bills out of their joint account so that he wasn't behind when he came back. Kayla and Kelly were working together, like he was paying, rent, the car, so like they had a joint account, and she was making sure everything was still getting paid. So it wasn't like she emptied out the bank account because there is a speculation of that. But no, she just kept paying their bills normally after he left, because if he came back, she didn't want him to be behind.
Valid. Also, weird that they have a joint account.
And they've lived together for like 2 years.
I am married and I don't have a joint account.
Valid. I oh, I do.
Okay, you guys have also been together for a decade,
13 years.
over a decade. I was meaning married, but
Oh yeah. But yeah,
so I'm just saying they're just dating and have a joint bank account. A little strange to me. I don't know why. That's
If they're living together, it makes sense.
I feel like it's an account that they put money into
Yeah.
every month and it pays
Okay.
the bills out of, because at one point it does say that that account does empty because he wasn't putting any more money into it, and that's where the speculation of the account, her emptying the account,
got it.
came from, because eventually he's not adding more money to it, so that account will run out and not be able, you know?
That's what we did. We had like our incomes would go to our own individual accounts, and then every month
We
we
just
would
had
put
money
some
into
money into the joint
That's
account.
And that's what I think that
That's
this was.
super smart.
That's probably what it was.
And that's what I
Okay.
think this is.
Genius.
So,
Good for you. Still a little weird,
Yeah.
personally. As long
so
as you have a
Kayla and
separate
Kelly were working together as a team. And to find Kevin, and they were doing this for the first few weeks.
They were or
They
weren't?
were. They were working together as a team for those first few weeks and really doing it.
Okay.
Until Kelly was talking to Sergeant Bach one day. And she asked him if he had talked to the other people that Kevin and Kayla went to the festival with. And he said, "What other people? What are you talking about?" Kayla didn't tell him that James and Angel were there. But also, he didn't ask if other people were there.
I am
So,
not sure how I feel right now. Go on.
after this interaction, Kelly started asking Kayla more questions about what happened that weekend and the people who were with Kevin that weekend, and things started to get weird. Kelly wanted Kevin's phone records, and they had to go through Kayla to get them because Kevin was on a phone plan with Kayla under Kayla's mom. They only wanted Kevin's phone records, not Kayla's. They didn't care about hers. But Kayla started getting defensive. And then it got out on Facebook that she wasn't giving over her phone records, and people started attacking her. So she ended up cutting contact with the family and everyone involved. Once that happened, Kayla blocked everyone. And Kayla's friends started attacking people online, standing up for Kayla left and right, which turned into them attacking Kevin's character, calling him a drug addict and a drug dealer. And yeah. You want me to keep going?
I'm just gonna slide this in there really quick.
Please do.
Okay. If you have nothing to hide, if you did nothing wrong, even if you were not asked to turn your shit over, why wouldn't you willingly do it instead of get defensive? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So,
Oh, I don't like that face. Go.
when Sergeant Bach talked to James about what happened that weekend,
Oh.
James confirmed that Kevin had been acting weird and jealous all weekend. As for what happened on Sunday, James said that he and Kevin went to one of the stages while Kayla took a nap in the tent. This was after Kevin and Kayla had a fight. James said that he was the last to see Kevin and that Kevin was acting weird, trying to rip his wristband off. So he left him at one of the stages and went back to the tent.
Ew.
So before we talk about that switch up in story, I need to add that people who were at the campsite next to Kevin and Kayla corroborated that there was a big fight that ended in Kevin walking away crying.
Okay.
Kevin's family also said that leading up to the festival and while at the festival, he had expressed concerns about Kayla having a relationship with James. So the story change was pretty massive, right? And makes for a completely different timeline. But Sergeant Bach doesn't really seem to care. And this next statement, though, might help you guys understand why. Kayla also alluded to Sergeant Bach that Kevin was into harder drugs by telling him when she was packing up Kevin's things 3 weeks after he disappeared, I will add, that she found syringes. She also told him that she will no longer speak with Kevin's family because she has kids and family in this community and she can't have people calling her a drug addict or a heroin addict.
But it wasn't hers?
Yeah, her friends were doing that. So in turn, I haven't actually seen it, but from Kayla, what she's saying is that Kevin's family started attacking her. And Kelly does say that there were certain people in the family who weren't saying nice things about her, but she can't control everybody. So there was a little
Including
bit of
her own
back and
friends.
forth.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I just rolled my eyes so hard that I felt my eyelash move. I'm not gonna lie to you.
and also it kind of started to make like a larger riff when 3 weeks after Kayla's packing up Kevin's stuff and asking Kelly and Gary to come get it. And yeah, 3 weeks after he's been missing. Not only that, you know what? I'll let Gary tell you about that a little bit later.
Son of a bitch.
He tells it so well.
So she literally had no hope, thoughts, anything like that of him coming back.
But we were paying all the bills out together.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's not all of her money anyway, so why would spend her own money to pay on bills?
Yeah.
Go on.
So, now that we've talked a little bit about Sergeant Bach,
Yeah.
I would like to introduce you to him. And I will let everybody form their own opinions as you listen to him. Okay. All right. So now I want to play y'all a few clips from Sergeant Bach. And this comes from the Vanished podcast episode that did a wonderful job with Kevin Sace. They have a lot of interviews on there. He basically starts this out with it's not his jurisdiction. He only knows what he knows about this from the internet, meaning the electric forest and what takes place. He believes Kevin just walked away and says that Kayla says he just walked away and doesn't want to deal with the family. And she doesn't want to deal with his family. So we're going to go ahead and start you with a couple clips, and then we'll talk to you about them.
You know, it's a music festival. It's known for, you go there to listen to music and do drugs. That's why you go there. That's what the whole music festival is based on, is you're going there and you're doing drugs there as well. That's the music they listen to. That's the subculture they're in. And that's the music festival they go to. You know, that doesn't make it any easier trying to, you know, they weren't, you know, he's not an executive at General Motors and she works as a nurse, you know, so that's one of the things about this as well. And we're not talking about like a 13-year-old girl, you know, we're talking about a grown adult who has the ability to walk away if they'd like. You know, again, like I said, he lives in that subculture. I've talked to some of his friends who, some of them think he moved over, tried moving to California or something, because he talked about going out there and freaking growing weed. So, you know, that doesn't make it any easier. You know, like I said, he didn't own a house. His vehicle was broken down. And I've got people asking, well, did she kill him out there and bury him? Or what if he overdosed out there? I go, well, if he overdosed out there, people overdose all the time across the U.S. They call 911. They're at a music festival with a lot of drugs being used. I'm sure there was multiple overdoses there. They call the paramedics and get the proper medical. You're not at a festival with 3,000 people. He overdoses and while no one's looking, you bury his body out there. That's so, you know, when I explain that, I'm like, you know, you got to think logically here about what could have occurred. I don't know what happened. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know where he is. And anything is obviously a possibility, but just, you know, the speculation that people throw out there is very just opinionated, general speculation.
So, we obviously have some stigma and judgment about the kind of scene and what these people are into.
Transients.
Yes, and I would just like to say something. His little statement about it's not like this is a CEO or a nurse at these events. I'm sorry, so many people at these festivals are doctors, nurses, high-level executives, CEOs, sir.
Also, he wouldn't be
So
saying
many.
anything after this whole CEO thing went down
Yeah.
recently.
So, I'm just saying there is a lot of judgment that is obviously coming out and about this.
From this man.
From a lot of people. You're gonna hear it later on from his family, from news reporters. It's the stigma around it.
Sir, let me tell you a little Fun fact about police officers, you're more likely to get divorced because of your occupation. Boom, roasted.
Love it. So he goes on to talk about how that all the different like things that people throw out there. He didn't just overdose because he's at a festival with thousands of people. So they're not just gonna let him overdose and bury him in the forest. I mean, they're gonna call somebody about it. And
Okay, also, I've been to plenty of raves as well that, like, if you see someone getting sick, anything, like, granted, yes, you don't pay attention to everyone, but if you see that, there's medical people there for a reason.
let me talk to you about something.
Ooh.
So, after this last festival that me and my husband went to, we actually have decided that we are going to order Narcan to keep on us. Because there were so many posts in one of the groups that we were in afterwards about people who were like, I'm so happy that my group has decided to keep this on us. This guy sat down next to us, and I just noticed he wasn't really doing okay. Offered him some water, and then he started basically showing all the signs of an overdose. And
Yeah.
she was also learned how to deliver this dose because I did it wrong, but luckily there was somebody else behind me who had another dose of it and delivered it correctly. She was a nurse. So there's not always time to go grab somebody, but I lost count of how many stories there were of people looking at somebody random that came and sat down. But I remember I was looking at everybody and looking around and making sure people were okay because it is a lot of people.
I'm such a people watcher, dude.
So the cop, him being like, he just, overdoses, I'm sure they happen. Yeah, I'm probably sure that they did happen, but yes. And he goes on to be very defensive about Kayla, and she didn't do anything. And the way that he uses the word murder, we don't have this clip in there, but you guys go listen to it. Like, he just keeps saying, no one murdered him. Why would he murder her? Like, or why would she murder him? He's very cocky about knowing what didn't happen. To turn around and say this. He goes on about there was no life insurance policy. He, his car was broken down. All of this.
He's a generic looking dude.
Yeah, let's play you this clip.
So that whole area has been searched very thoroughly by the Michigan State Police, volunteers. Heck, his girlfriend Kayla went out there and helped. I never thought he was there, and there's no reason, they searched it, and I mean, everybody seems to, at this point now, think he's not there, which I, firmly believe. North of there is Muskegon, which has a large transient population as well as homeless persons living there. That was where people first started kind of seeing him, but those have dried up. And again, Kevin's a very generic looking person as well. There's nothing really that really stands out. So that doesn't help either.
Yeah. So, as a police officer, how do you stand there and are like, he's just really generic, so it's hard to find him?
It's really frustrating just because, like, I know the EDM community. Like, I know a lot of people in that community, and that's exactly what they are, is a community. They're not vindictive. They're like, again, they're all about peace, love, unity, and respect.
Plur.
So why would
Yes.
this doesn't make sense.
The stigma over top of it is something that was being heavily fought.
Yeah.
So, understandably, Kelly is getting really frustrated with police at this point. Between them never asking Kayla about who was there and Sergeant Bach's attitude about the people who attend these festivals, it made the family feel like they weren't taking Kevin missing seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin's family wasn't giving up. They continued with searches conducted by the SSAR and the Shiawassee Search and Rescue.
Okay.
So the SSAR is just like the private search and rescue. And they did searches with and without volunteers. And they also followed up any sightings about Kevin, which there always are when someone goes missing.
I was going to ask, did anyone respond to those posts about having
So
pictures
in
of
the
him?
group, no. Like, there was some pictures that would get sent, and ultimately it was determined that wasn't Kevin in the background. But there were people who were sending pictures who thought it might be him or not be him. But the family was looking through them and kind of determining.
That's so like, how did he not get in a single one?
It's crazy, but at the same time, like, me and Mike have been looking in everyone's pictures at EDC for us in the background, and we haven't found us either.
That's I mean, they're massive.
And it's
they're massive.
Thousands of thousands of people.
Yeah.
So, There were several reported sightings of Kevin in, of course, the Rothbury area where the festival takes place, but also right north of it, Muskegon Heights, which is near Rothbury. So there was multiple sightings in those areas, which is to be expected. There was also a sighting in Oregon going around very early on, but it turned out to just be a rumor. But why it was so heavily reported was because it actually got reported on by the Oceana County Press. So where he went missing, they were reporting that he was seen in Oregon, that this was like a valid sighting before they ever even had it confirmed. And it was never even a confirmed legitimate sighting of Kevin. But because a news station ran with it, everyone thought it was. So everyone just thought he was in Oregon.
Sometimes I love the media, and sometimes I truly hate them.
It was just one of those articles that got fired off too quick.
Yeah.
So during a search for Kevin, a woman approached his family and asked to see the flyer that they were handing out. She proceeded to tell them that she was having dinner with her family at a Mexican restaurant in town when a man came in wearing no shoes and clearly on drugs. He was asking for money for food. She said that it was Kevin, the same guy in the picture that they were showing her. Immediately, they went to that Mexican restaurant and they talked to the manager and some workers there at the restaurant, and they gave the exact same description and story. But there was a new detail. He kept saying, "My girlfriend and her dad dumped me here." And he just kept saying that. That came from the woman in the road, it came from the manager, and it came from multiple workers. And they also confirmed it was Kevin, the same guy on the flyer. Unfortunately, that lead never went anywhere past that. But it did give Kevin's family hope that he was alive, which was a switch from what they were beginning to think at this point. So,
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I'm sorry. When they went up to do a search, wasn't her and her dad up there first? I'm upset and I'm frustrated and I'm very suspicious.
And I wish that I had an answer for any of that for you.
Ugh. Okay.
So, one of the search updates on the Facebook page that was coming from that private search and rescue team that the family hired says, "No look at the Electric Forest Festival, searching 7 lakes, 3 swamps, 3 rivers, 15 miles of freeway on foot, 1 dam, over 3,000 acres of dense woodlands, and 2 urban searches in small towns. To no avail. Considering that I have found 3 eyewitnesses that saw Kevin in Whitehall post-festival, the only conclusion I can come to is that Kevin Graves is alive and does not wish to be discovered at this time. This does not mean we will not support the family and follow any leads. It simply means I have exhausted all possible leads, and I am certain I have done my best on this case. Surrender is not a ranger word. I'm just waiting for more information."
I have so many thoughts, but I hold it in. Keep going.
And this is the narrative that began to circulate, that Kevin had simply walked away because he wanted to. He didn't want to be found. He wanted to start new. Police even went as far to say that he wanted to become a part of the lure of the festival. There's this legend.
Did you just say police said that?
There's this legend about Carl, and you yell his name in the forest,
Coral.
and that is where it came from, I guess. But Sergeant Bach also echoed that Kevin wanted to be a part of that allure. What the fuck is with detectives and the lure of a festival or carnival being the reason someone went missing? Remember Jeremy Bright?
I do.
And what just like...
That's exactly where my
Yeah,
mind
as
just
soon
went.
as I read that line, I was like, is this in the detective handbook somewhere? Do they, like, is this a part of their training?
I don't think I've ever been lured into a lure of a festival.
No! Like, the allure of a festival. I don't... Yeah, so it's really weird that this has come up in 2 cases. But I guess when someone's missing and there's no leads...
That's what they
Is that the detective handbook that we go there?
That's wild.
So Kevin's family showed up to Electric Forest in 2019 and started handing out Kevin's missing person flyers. They set up signs at the road entrances to the festivals asking people to check their pictures from 2018 to see if Kevin is in any of them. They made shirts and hats that said, "Help us find Kevin Graves," and were selling them to help get his name out there and also fund all of this because it is not cheap to search for people.
Correct. Especially with a private investigator.
Yeah.
PIs are not usually that cheap.
No. And they're using private search and rescue.
Yeah.
As well. So in February of 2020, it was announced that a report came in at some point about a homeless man who looked a lot like Kevin. Police were called. No mention if they ever actually checked into this. Family wasn't able to make the trip to check right then when the home wasn't able to make the trip up there to check like immediately. Yeah. And by the time they could, the homeless camp had moved on. And when it was reported that the homeless camp had come back, the family sent a family member up there. I believe it was a cousin, to close to where the video had been given to check it out, see if he was back there. Unfortunately, they could not make contact. That man was not seen back at the camp, but they did leave food and a lighter for him, just in case. Then COVID hit, and it made searching for Kevin really hard. The festival wasn't held that year, so they couldn't go back and hand out flyers. And the whole world was shut down, and people were doing their own thing, and it was a lot harder to really talk about this and get the attention back on him. But in November of 2020, an update was given. And I'm just going to read it because I couldn't figure out another way to give you all this information.
Okay.
Word for word. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you for liking and following this page. It means a lot that you all care so much. Secondly, I wanted to give a quick update. There was one last search done in September on and around the grounds of the Double JJ Ranch. I'm sorry to say there's nothing new to report. Kayla continues to block the family and never did provide us with any phone records. The police are useless on the subject. As a family, we are certain she knows much more than she ever let on, but we have no way of proving anything. Again, thank you all so much for the love and support. Edited to add that this is no longer a rescue mission, but a recovery. Still keep your eyes peeled, but I do not think Kevin is with us anymore.
That's sad.
Very sad. And I am going to touch more later on towards the end about the statement of Kayla knows more than she's letting on. And you're going to hear it straight from Gary, Kevin's dad.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, the leader of the private search and rescue group that was doing all the searches for Kevin and his family died from COVID.
Bummer.
In 2020. And the group just kind of dismantled after that. No one really stepped up to become the leader. He kind of was the glue of everything.
Gosh.
And so that was the end of all private searches for Kevin, as well as any large searches in general, because the police weren't really doing shit anymore.
Yeah.
So Kelly posts this heartbreaking post 18 months after Kevin went missing. And it starts, nobody really asks about Kevin anymore. But in case you're wondering, no, we're not okay. We just went through our second Thanksgiving and our second Christmas without him. Soon to be his 30th birthday without him. It's been over 18 months, so no, we are not okay. My heart sinks about 35 times a day. Over 35 times a day, I struggle to catch my breath thinking about where he might be or what may have happened to him. It's not fine. We are not fine. We are not okay. By June of 2022, the Electric Forest Festival is finally back, which is great news for Kevin's family. So they all got tickets to one day of the festival, and their plan is to print out a bunch of flyers, and they do. So they all show up. There's people in the festival, there's people outside the festival, and they're handing out these flyers, and they're talking to people, and just, some people are remembering, some people are hearing this for the first time. But then they are approached by security and event staff and asked to leave. Let me just read the post that they put out afterwards. And they literally start it by tagging Electric Forest themselves.
Period.
So it is that nice blue highlight. Electric Forest, I could not be more thoroughly embarrassed, disgusted, appalled, disappointed, and ticked right off at the decision your people at the Rothbury, Michigan event just made. Kevin Graves went missing from your event 4 years ago. His family looks to your event for help in locating and finding information that leads to finding their missing son, brother, uncle, nephew, loved one. Y'all talk about having love and acceptance. You turn them away because it gives you bad PR. They were peacefully handing out 2,500 flyers with Kevin's picture, description, and reward offer for info that leads to locating their loved one who went missing many miles from home. For one stinking day, to your some 60,000 event goers, and you ask them to leave because you're worried about bad PR? congrats on earning that bad PR for yourself.
Who posted that?
A family member in the group. Like, they posted it in the group, then they posted it, like, to the forest.
That's crazy. And they bought tickets is the thing.
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, so, Electric Forest is not cheap.
Yeah.
At all. Me and my husband, just the two of us alone going, because you have to camp, or you stay, like, way out, and then you have to buy a parking pass and drive in and out every day. We were looking at roughly $4,000 for one weekend, Wednesday to Monday. That is our tickets, our camping, our car pass for being in there. Oh yeah, we were looking at probably about it was like $3,000 to $4,000, and that's on the low end of the packages. If you want to get into their cabins and their other stuff, and so you can do car camping, tent camping, RV, we are not talking about broke people going to festivals. These are thousands of dollars to get there. My EDC tickets, 3-day tickets. We were GA plus, so there's GA plus, and VIP. And we were in the second sale, not the first pre-sale, not the one after that. And I think we paid $850 after fees and taxes for both of our tickets. But it's 3 11 or 12-hour days. With Electric Forest, you get so much more because you're camping. It is a full experience. It's more of a 5-day experience. So we're not Sergeant Bach, you and your low-life degenerates. I'm sorry. This is expensive.
That's crazy.
Yes. So, a 1-day ticket for them, which I've never even found on Electric Forest.
Yeah.
But I'm searching in 2024. This
Yeah.
is 2022. I'm saying they easily probably paid a good $150 to $200 a person to be there that day to hand that out. Because
for
they
the
also
ticket,
had to get a
though.
parking pass to be
Yeah.
in there. Oh, yeah. So,
Wow.
if you thought that this was going to stop Kevin's family, you would be so wrong. So they sat down and they thought of how they could get around this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they posted this. Since Electric Forest quietly escorted, and that's in quotes, my family out last year as they were asking around for their son that has been missing for 5 years now, my parents decided to put up a billboard on the highway while the festival is going on. And it just so happens to be visible from the middle of it this year. Game on.
Period.
Love it.
God,
Well,
I love people.
that
to a
got the CEO of Electric Forest's attention real quick. He was appalled that they were escorted off, and he profusely apologized and offered his help.
Why did it take another year? Sir?
And he offered for them to come and meet with him at the Double JJ Ranch to see what he could do to help.
Okay.
I don't know why this didn't happen in 2018, but it's 2022 and now we're doing it.
It would be 23 at this point.
So, yes. So 2023. So this is happening in the 2023 year. So he invites them to the Double JJ Ranch to meet with him and a detective.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to... They were not happy, and they made a post outlining everything that happened. Now, there will be
From the meeting?
Yes, there will be a silver lining at the end of this, but I'm just going to read this because they did not hold back at all.
I'm so excited.
So it reads, the Graves family was invited out to the Double JJ Ranch, where they met with the CEO and Detective Hart from the Michigan State Police Post. Sadly, the Graves family feels like meeting him was a waste of time, although their discussion with the detective felt better. They asked the CEO for these things. 1. Issue a formal apology for last year's escort off the property, to which him and Hod didn't give an answer to. Number 2. Put his flyer up on the big screen during the event, to which he replied, no. Flat no. Number 3. Have his staff hand out flyers to concert goers as they enter the property, to which he replied, they would just throw them on the ground. His answer was to put up a flyer at their information booth, but also implied that they are not allowed to stand on the property to hand out flyers themselves. Thankfully, though, the detective from the MSP Hart Post made them feel better about the meeting. Here's what they discussed with her. One of the things the Graves family would like is for the case to be handed over from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office to the Michigan State Police Hart Post. The Heart Post is the one that is logistically closest to the last place Kevin was seen and makes
Yeah.
the most sense. And
Yeah.
plus, they were the ones initially helping with those searches.
Yeah.
But they were also the ones who bowed out because he's 28 and can walk off on his own. But this has to be done in a formal manner. So obviously, it's going to take a minute. It means that the Oakland Sheriff's Office would have to request that the MSP Heart Post take it over. And then the MSP Heart Post would have to agree to take it over, which I feel like would happen. At a previous meeting with the sheriff from Oakland County, he made a statement to the Graves family stating, "Why do we have this case to begin with?" So they are hopeful that he meant that and that this process can take place sooner rather than later, if Oakland County will even do it at all. The detective who attended yesterday's meeting told the Graves family that she would reach out to the Oakland County Sheriff and see what comes of it. The Graves family let her know that they weren't going away and that they would continue to put that billboard up during the event every single year until he is found. And they would continue to try everything in their power to continue to bring awareness to that community and to the rest of us about the fact that Kevin is still missing and that they are looking for answers and won't rest until they do. They did also take time while in Rothbury to put up fresh flyers of Kevin in hopes of reaching new concert goers, despite the lack of help from Electric Forest CEO.
Why even call the meeting?
For PR. For show. I was so hopeful when I read that they were called out to have a meeting there. And then so disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, to play devil's advocate, I get both sides of this. I get the forest trying to keep a happy, positive vibe about it.
Uh-huh.
I get that. It's also not good for them if somebody's been missing and hasn't been found and the last place they were seen was in their festival. It's not a
For
good
6 years.
image to get people to come in and feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I do feel like they could be doing more. I do feel like at a certain point, a missing person is more important than your bottom line dollar in your festival. I know it's all about money. I know this is his baby he created since 2008, but you would think that you are so well established that you could spin this in a way that you could help them and still keep the positivity and the safe environment.
Yeah.
I feel like we could use a learning experience with this.
And they're not even asking to keep it up like on the screen all day long.
No, but like in between sets. In the beginning, when it first is opening, at the end of the night, when the last one's done, put that on the screen while everyone's leaving. How hard is that?
Also, I don't think it's like that. Just issue a fucking apology. Like, I would have more respect if he would just issue the apology and maybe be like, well, maybe I can't do that. Like,
Or
put
a statement.
this. Yeah, or even just like, well, I can't have my crew pass out flyers, but I would be willing to do like X, Y, and Z to do like a compromise somewhere.
Yeah.
But there's nothing.
No. So that's just frustrating in its own.
Yeah.
Like we said, not exactly what they wanted out of that meeting, but they did get some wins. Hopefully, the transferring of this case from Oakland to Michigan State Police.
Happens.
I mean, hopefully that is the big thing. And I do believe that that does go on to happen, but there hasn't been a lot of talk afterwards because obviously we don't have a lot more updates than where we are.
Yeah.
So because there is a twist, but before we get into this little twist, I would like to play a few clips from Gary, Kevin's dad, talking outside of the Electric Forest. I believe this was either 2022 or 2023. It is one of those. I believe it's 2022.
When they got kicked out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the year after that. It's right in there, but there's just some interesting things that he says in this that I would like you guys to hold on till the end. Like, just, you need to know. And I didn't know how else to put it in here. Other than him just saying it.
Okay.
Pause.
But there's just too many things that didn't seem right with this whole situation. You know, I'm still skeptic to this day about what's going on because she more or less asked me to pick up all his stuff that he had at her house. She wanted me to move all his stuff out of there, which to me kind of hit a soft spot saying, wait a second, you know? Something don't make sense. If you love them so much, why are you wanting to get rid of everything that meant something? I gotta admit, they were both into drugs. I know it. But any kid that comes up to this electric force, you know, they're either into pot or they're into drugs. It's an everyday thing that you know it's happening. You can't change it. Since got married, the guy that she's married to come over to our house here a few months ago and said that you guys don't know what this woman's like. She's, her and I are having problems, but she knows more about what happened to your son than she's putting on. He says she knows how to pass a lie detector test. She's pretty smart. And so I'm just telling you that she's told me that there's so much that we don't know about.
So, that is all very interesting coming from Gary.
So basically, I am a genius, and you lied to me.
A little bit. I did gaslight you a little bit in this episode
You
because I
did.
had to. I couldn't let you guys have preconceived notions. You had to openly think about this.
This is gonna be really, really messed up of me to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I hope this dude and her get divorced, and he goes and spills everything.
So, I would like to add on to that. This is not the guy this isn't James from the festival,
I know.
but her and James did go on to date after the festival
No,
before she got married to this guy.
that bitch. Like
Yes.
directly after.
Not
bet
very long
anything.
after.
I
I would
bet
have to.
anything.
There's not an exact timeline on this, but I'm going to assume that might have been the speed up process of getting Kevin's stuff out of the house.
I have a feeling.
And that's just speculation because there's no solid hard things. So Kayla's friends don't come for me.
I bet motherfucking anything. James knows more too.
Oh, they all do.
I bet anything.
So another interesting part of that is that stigma around this festival and around the weed also comes from Kevin's family as well, as I mentioned slightly earlier.
Yep.
Which doesn't help all of this, no matter where
Situation.
you're sitting at.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of what was going on at that festival or what people were doing, what he was doing or not doing, he still deserves to be treated with the same ground zero that every other missing person does.
Yeah.
Now that we have that out of the way, this is like my favorite part of this episode. There is one major theory and a rumor that kept popping up in Kevin's family's messages all over the Facebook page, in these Electric Force Facebook groups. And everybody was constantly coming back to, this is what happened to Kevin. This is where you guys need to look. This is where he is. So, has anybody ever heard of the 12 tribes?
No.
Okay. I hadn't really either. The 12 tribes describes themselves as a religious group that has farms, delis, and cafes all over the country. They travel around to festivals in buses looking for lost souls or people needing direction or people needing to get off drugs. They offer them cookies and tea and promising them a simpler life on their farm or working in their deli. The coffee and tea is how they get them on the bus. Everyone else describes them as a cult, where they don't allow you to have contact with your family, they kidnap people from festivals, then move them all over the country so it's harder to find them. There are people out there who say they have been a part of it and they were allowed to leave, but they are in random parts of the internet, and I don't really know how legit their stories and accounts are, because
How do
you prove this?
How
Yes,
did they get out?
and I haven't actually been able to find these ones with this. It's just, let me continue. So their buses have been seen at Electric Forest before. And also, I really wish I would have known about this before I went to EDC because I was not even looking for cult buses. Okay?
Next time.
Wasn't even looking.
Next time.
And so Kevin's family took this into consideration and they began calling farms. There's actually a farm located in Michigan, and they called them and went out to the farm and showed his picture to everybody and talked to people, but no one recognized him. The family asked if there was a bus at this festival. And we do not get a solid direct answer. So at first, we get, yes, we do have a bus, and it was at the festival. And then the next thing Kevin's family is being told is, oh, no. Our buses, they've been out of commission for years. They don't work. They weren't at that festival. But so many people at Electric Forest remember seeing those buses that weekend. Another thing but they said that they will keep an eye out for him. And Kelly says that the vibe that they got was that they are kind of all individual cafes or delis or farms, and they know their inner workings. They have contacts with other ones, but they don't really know the inner workings of all the other ones. That's just what she perceived. Mm-hmm. I personally don't believe that, because there's no way. We all watch Handmaid's Tale. Then they called out to a farm in Colorado. They called out to a farm in Vermont, one down in Georgia. And no one really seemed to know Kevin or have any knowledge. Colorado was probably the most helpful farm. He told Kelly, hey, let me make a few phone calls and I'll get back with you. And Kelly was like, okay, fine, whatever. I doubt I'll ever hear from him again. Like, why is this a concern to him? And a few days later, he actually did call back and said, hey, I called around to some other places and nobody has seen him or heard him. He's not anywhere with us. And
what was this called? 12 tribes?
12 tribes.
Does that mean there was 12 farms?
I don't really...
more than 12.
Yeah, there's way more than 12.
It might have been
why
like
is
an
it
original 12 or something.
Like the colonist? Oh, that was 13.
Biblical. It has to do with the whole religion thing. Like, it's the whole religious... I don't know. It's in there.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't dive that far into it there. So, Kevin's family doesn't believe that he is with the 12 tribes. They believe that they have nothing to do with this. Mm-hmm. A lot of other people are not convinced. There's a lot of people out there who do believe that Kevin is with in a farm somewhere. They're hiding him. Something. I don't know what the reasoning for that would be, but... So, the 12 Tribes does have a website.
Oh.
Please go on there. Because it also contains a map where all of their delis, cafes, and farms are. We have a cafe in Manitou Springs, guys, for those of you in Colorado.
Which is like a little blip right next, like inside of Colorado Springs.
It's like 5 minutes from my house.
I've been there before.
I know, I've like walked by it so many times.
Yeah. I actually dated this guy, what up, Jason, back in high school. Loved that man. He was precious. He took me there on a date once. So it's been there for a hot minute.
Yeah. There's pictures of it on the... Yeah. So it was just wild that we have one of their cafes in our backyard. And you've been there.
I have. I had a drink from there.
You're not supposed to drink the Kool-Aid.
Okay, well, it was a mate, so I think I'm fine. And clearly, I'm here. Maybe the drink is what broke Jason and I up.
There it is.
I'm just kidding. Honestly, I don't remember.
But yeah, so that is the little twisty theory.
That's crazy.
That honestly kind of slightly also dragged me into this case.
Okay, she literally messaged me, was like, Colorado has cults. Colorado has cults. So excited.
I love a good cult, man. I love a good cult.
But she wouldn't tell me anything.
Listen, you guys don't ever have to worry about me accidentally joining a cult. You have to worry about me being curious and accidentally getting stuck. Like, there will not be a, like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, this is purely for research purposes. And then I would just get in over my head and be there. But I would go in intentionally knowing it was a cult because why not?
Okay, I would Liam Neeson for you though.
I know you would.
So fast.
And that's why I
Oh,
could
yeah.
do this. Okay, back on topic. Don't worry, we'll have cult episodes, I promise. So Kevin's family doesn't think Kayla or the friends of the festival did anything to him, but they do
You said
believe,
Kevin's family said this?
yeah,
Okay.
but they do believe they know more than they're saying.
Mm.
And they're not even sure what they think happened to Kevin, but they do know that he was a big-hearted guy, a gentleman, a great friend, and he definitely wouldn't just disappear. And even if he did, he wouldn't go this long without a phone call or a text. He was very close with his family and talked almost every day with his mom or sister.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like him to do this for this long.
Yeah.
So, we've talked a lot about Kevin's family and what they say about Kevin. And we've talked about Kayla and her friends and what they say about Kevin. And if you've noticed, these are some kind of conflicting views on his life.
Mm-hmm.
But let me add some more for you.
Oh.
Because there's some more conflicting views on the internet from people in Kevin's life that knew him. And they say that Kevin's family was really religious and he wasn't. They even kind of go back on Kevin's dad saying he said grace every year at Thanksgiving and they're missing that. And one of his friends said, that's not even Kevin.
Yeah.
And they also say he wasn't as close with his family as they claim. He wasn't in constant communication with his mom and his sister. He wasn't all about his family all the time. And they say that Kevin was more into partying than his family knew. There's rumors that he was a drug dealer. So there's just a lot of different sides to Kevin. And that can happen when you grow up in a religious family where you are one version of yourself to your parents and your family, you're another version of yourself with this group of friends, and you're another version of yourself with your girlfriend and their family over here because they lean a certain way. We all put on the masks and play the different people in society. So in this episode, I tried to include the main themes of Kevin and what are all the very overlapping things that I can tell are Kevin. And it is hard for parents to watch their kids grow up and go into past the lives that they don't necessarily
Agree with.
Mm-hmm. And so they ignore it or choose to not have that be a part of his and what they think of.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have a little bit of that happening as well in this. But none of that changes the bottom line of Kevin deserves just as much justice as anybody else. No matter how you live your life or what you do does not make you any less of a person to deserve all of this stuff. But we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we did not give you all the facts and all the sides and all the information. So I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not saying that Kevin was somebody different. I'm not saying that his family didn't know him or his friends didn't know him. I think it is an overall combination of everything.
Yeah.
So what do you think happened to Kevin?
Honestly?
Because
my opinion?
normally I have questions to give you guys at the end of this with different options, and I don't. That's the only question that I could come up with because there's not even a solid theory in here. We don't even have police investigative reports and stuff. So, yeah. What do you think happened?
Okay.
We need to pause and take a minute for you to gather your thoughts.
No. I'm good. I can't come up with like a legit theory in my head either. The only thing I can think of, just honestly, I think Kayla and James are involved. I think there was something, some type of relation togetherness of them. And I think Kevin found out. And he probably saw it firsthand at this festival. And there could have been some type of physical altercation. And he may have gotten hit or fell or something. But with that, how was there sightings of him? How is there confirmed sightings of this man? And someone who could possibly look like him, be like him at a Mexican restaurant saying, my girlfriend and dad dropped me off. Go. I just popped something in your head, didn't I? Go. Say it.
Okay, so listen. Keep going with that, except for we need to add on the added part of him being in that Mexican restaurant saying, my girlfriend and her dad dropped me off and left me here.
Yeah.
What if? Oh my god, I just had this whole I had nothing to give you until
You're
you did
so
that.
welcome.
So,
Theory of Kevin.
theory.
Yeah.
If Kevin did overdose or he fell and hit his head
Yeah.
and Kayla looked for them, they looked for him. They left the festival the next day to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Kayla and her dad came back out to look. We don't know when they started to come back out to look.
Correct.
What if we thought Kevin was dead and it was an accident, but somebody always has to get arrested, accident or not. So they loaded him up in the car. We're not checking cars on the way out of the festival when everyone's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
They thought he was dead, dropped him off somewhere. Her and her dad did. He was not. And that's how we wandered back into a Mexican restaurant, seemingly like we're on drugs, but we have a head injury. I'm just saying, it's wild, but so is this entire thing. Because the Kayla and her dad part does not make sense.
The fact that he wouldn't contact anyone or the police or anything like that, the head injury could indicate that he doesn't remember any of it.
Hence why he would be with the homeless encampment or he would not be there anymore. There's just so much I don't know if he's alive or not. Could he be with 12 tribes? Could he be with a homeless encampment?
I don't see him being with those people.
The things that are weird for me, and that's what his friends say too, because he loved to smoke weed. Yeah. So his friends were like, there's no way in hell he's in a drug-free zone.
Yeah.
So,
well, and also with it being like a religious thing. And I understand he told his sister oh, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
I don't
and
believe
it's
that.
super religious. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, with that, I don't believe he and his family talked often because she clearly is still trying to push religion onto him when he has decided he doesn't want that. As a 28-year-old, your frontal lobe is fully developed, babe.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's too many sides, and obviously we have stellar police investigating here. So we don't even have the different investigation. It even sounds like Kayla was never actually questioned at a police station. She was questioned in her living room every time. I don't know if we had actual legit questionings in a station. I'm pretty sure we just talked to people. And that's the vibe that was given off. So, please tell us what y'all think happened to Kevin on YouTube comments, Facebook, anywhere that we can read it. We would love to hear.
Or if you think our theory is correct and you want to run with it, let us know.
Let us know. But Kevin Gary Graves went missing July 1st, 2018 in Rothbury, Michigan while attending the Electric Forest Music Festival. He was 28 years old at the time, 6 feet tall, weighed 185 pounds, blue eyes, blonde hair. He has a United States Marine Corps tattoo on his left shoulder. The tattoo is in honor of his dad who served as a Marine. He also has red lips on his right hip and an Aquarius sign on his right forearm. He was wearing tan shorts and a tie-dye shirt with brown shoes. He has his left ear pierced. Facial hair is a beard and a mustache. Kevin's case is officially considered a cold case.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
They turned it into a cold case after 6 years?
Yes. His missing persons profile, it is literally categorized as a cold case. There is still a $10,000 reward, though. And anyone with information on the whereabouts of Kevin is asked to contact the Oakland County Sheriff's Office at 248-858-4950, the Michigan State Police Heart Post, 231-873-2171, or Mason Oceana Central Dispatch, 231-869-5858. So if that clarifies, we still haven't moved police departments.
Yep, that clarified.
Answer that question for y'all. We're just contacting all of them.
Pretty much. Do it. Just in case. And if they decide, just contact all of them.
All
Every
of
single one
the
of them.
state of
If
Michigan.
you have a tip, call every single person you know in Michigan.
Yeah, there you go. So, thank you for joining us for another episode of Justice For. If you enjoyed hanging out with us, please hit that like, subscribe, follow button so you never miss an episode with us. If you haven't already, head over to our justiceforpodcast.com website.
Justice for
I really
Podcast.
should read what I write.
Justiceforpodcast.com.
Where?
You're welcome.
Thank you. Where you can find more resources, all of our episodes, and if you have a case that you want to hear us talk about, please go ahead over to our submissions tab and submit that case. We love to hear from you guys and research the very fucked up shit y'all bring us.
No, seriously. It's been weird, but we love it.
Yes. Also, on our website is a link to all of our social medias that you should be following because we post hilarious bloopers and you get sneak peeks of next week's episode.
Yeah.
So, please join us on there. We love to talk to y'all.
Yes.
And
speaking of next week's episode.
Yes.
So next week is Christmas Eve on Tuesday. So yay,
Reminder,
jolly.
get your shopping done. Get your wrapping done. You only have a week.
Shit.
I'm already done.
You've been done for like a month.
I know.
But we are going to take next week off. We were not planning to do so, but I had a script ready to go to record right after this. And then this morning, I found an update video about the case.
She was panicking, guys.
I panicked because the update was with the victim's father, and almost every, like 75%, 80% of my sources, everything I wrote is wrong. All of it. And I refuse to put misinformation out there if it is in fact misinformation.
And we never want to half-ass an episode for you guys.
Absolutely.
So we did not feel comfortable trying to hurriedly rewrite that this morning and make it all flow and get all that information. So instead of rushing and pushing out an episode to push out an episode, we would like to take some extra time and make sure that we get it right.
And we do justice for this case because it needs it.
Yes.
It really needs it.
So we do apologize.
Yes.
But we will give you the Christmas week off from a very fucked up tale.
It's a good one, though.
It is a good one, though.
Do you know about it?
We talked about it a little bit. So we do apologize for no us next week.
Yeah.
But check for bloopers and other stuff on our social media. We'll have some good things for you. We've got a lot of stuff that we've been working on behind the scenes. And
we took some cute new pictures today.
Yeah, we did a whole photo shoot today for you guys. And we can't wait.
But thank you for being patient with us. Obviously, we're not gone for long.
No.
But we need to do justice again for this case and for the holidays.
Yes. But we will be right back with you on New Year's Eve. So don't worry. You will hear from us one more time before the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have anything else. What about you?
I ain't got nothing else.
Cool. We will see you guys in a couple weeks. Merry Christmas. We love you guys. Okay. Bye.